Coming to you from the greatest city in the world, this is the #1 showbiz podcast. It's Talk for Two. Here's your host, Matt Bailey.
It's season finale day. Thank you so much. That's our announcer, Gary Owen. Hey, Gary, thank you so much. And a big thank you to our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network, for being our stalwarts. I love you guys. TangentBoundNetwork.com, Axtel.com. I always want to say AxtelExpressions.com. I know that's not right. Axtel.com, TangentBoundNetwork.com. I love you both. Today is just awesome, and you could say our guest granted our 3 wishes. James Monroe Iglehart. 3 names, 3 wishes. He's currently in Disney's Aladdin on Broadway, performing as, you guessed it, the Genie. Now, if his name sounds familiar, that's because this role is the role he originated and that won him a Tony in 2014 for Best Featured Actor. Since then, fans have flocked to the New Amsterdam Theater to see his show-stopping performances. Iglehart first appeared on Broadway in the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Later, he returned as Bobby in the 2010 Tony-winning Best Musical, Memphis. Interesting fact, he stayed with that show its entire run. I could tell you what James and I talk about, but I think it would be easier actually to tell you what we didn't talk about. Sitting in his dressing room on the top floor of the historic theater at the corner of 42nd and Broadway, James espouses his thoughts on award season. Of course, Tony noms were announced this week. Why pure entertainment is so important in the theater, and even encounters with rude fans. We get the dish on that as well. I don't want to spoil it any further. This is a mic-droppingly awesome season finale interview that you have to hear to believe. And I promise you, I am not exaggerating. Here now to tell us why some critics just don't know a New Amsterdam, our interview with James Monroe Iglehart. James Monroe Iglehart, welcome to Talk for Two. How are you today, sir?
I am doing very well, Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting us to the New Amsterdam Theater to do this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I figured that, you asked me to do this, and I wanted to be part of it, so I figured I'd bring you to my home.
Oh, yes. We are in your home. I'm sitting literally a foot away from the Genie costumes, and the 8-year-old in me that loved Aladdin growing up is freaking out right now.
I love these costumes because, for one, I love the fact that I get to dress like MC Hammer, Michael Jackson, and Disney character all at the same time. It's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. That's really, really cool. And I want to begin, before we will get to Aladdin, but we got a lot of ground to cover today.
Go right ahead.
We got to start at the beginning. What was the spark for you? When did you fall in love with theater?
Okay. That's easy, actually. I fell in love with theater because my dad was an actor in the 1970s, and my mom is a music teacher and a singer. She sang in church from the day I was born till yesterday, literally. So falling in love with theater was quite easy. It was always in my house. Musical soundtracks were always in my house. Going to musicals were always in my house. The first musical I saw was The Wiz. I don't even think I was in double digits when I saw it. I know the first movie I saw at the theater was The Jungle Book, Disney's Jungle Book, and I loved the songs. And so anything that had to do with singing or acting or performing, I was just into. My first solo at church was at 4 years old, so that was just, I've just been a part of it my whole life. But it didn't become serious for me until high school.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming this goes to my next question. Now, you grew up in California. You grew up west, west, went to Cal State Hayward. What made you want to come east? Was it just always in you to do musical theater out here?
No, actually it wasn't. I love Broadway, and I watched the Tonys forever. But there was one thing separating me from New York, and it's something very simple. Snow. I don't like it. I hate it. Every time, California people, we don't have snow, so they always want to go to it. Come on, kids, let's go to the snow. The church camps want to take you to the snow. And every time we go to the snow is cold, snow is hard. People pick it up, people throw it. It's uncomfortable. It stops cars. It just makes you wear 50,000 layers. That was always a problem for me, constantly a problem for me. But I knew once I made this my profession that if I wanted to be at the top of my game, I had to come to New York. But I did tell myself, after a friend of mine told me, New York is hard, New York's expensive. I said, I am not coming to that city unless I have a job. I'm not just going out there a couple of my associates just went out there just willy-nilly. I'm like, I ain't doing that. That place eats people up. If I go out there, somebody's bringing me out there. And thank God that's what happened.
Was that spelling bee?
Yes.
All right. But you came in as a replacement. How'd they find you out west?
Actually, the original guy, Derek Baskin, is one of my best friends. And he's the original Mitch Mahoney. And he was playing it on Broadway. And they came to him and said, hey, we're doing this in San Francisco. And we've been auditioning and we can't find anybody. And he said, well, have you spoken to my friend James Iglehart? And he said, no. They said, no, who's his agent? I said, that's the problem. He doesn't have an agent. So they just called me at home.
That's
and
great.
They said, listen, Derek says you're good. Would you come to the audition? Now, here's the fun part. I hope I'm not taking too long with the story.
Please.
I was directing a show at the time. I was directing Bad Boy out in San Francisco. And the Bad Boy cast had found out that Spelling Bee was coming to audition. And I told Derek, I said, hey, man, I'm going to go audition for Spelling Bee. He was like, look, man, if you want to audition, I've talked to some people. Let me take care of some stuff. And I was like, no, I don't need your help. Let me do it myself. So on opening night of Bad Boy, we had all decided we were going to go to the open call that Saturday. And we were all planning. They were like, oh my God, James is going to go with us. And at the time, I had a little bit of a name in the Bay Area. So it was like me and my friends and my cast, I was going to go with them. And as 30 minutes before we opened, I get a call from New York City saying, hello, Mr. Iglehart. This is beep management. And we would like for you to come into the callbacks on Sunday. And I was like, oh. Yeah, thank you. We heard about you from our Derek, and we would love to talk to you and love to see what you can do. This is great, beautiful. So my friends now are like, man, James is coming with us. I'm like, guys, listen. Something came up. They're like, you're not going to go to the audition? I was like, well, no. I got some stuff that's happening. Because I couldn't tell anybody. I was not supposed to be at the callbacks. So I had to lie. And I told them afterwards. I was like, look, guys, I lied, but they told me I couldn't tell you. But I went to the callback. I got in there, and here we are. So it was just crazy.
Wow. But there was a detour to Memphis, Tennessee, if I recall.
Yes, there was. Actually, what's pretty funny is I was doing Memphis in 2004 in the Bay Area with Derek. And we were in the middle of a scene. And I said, dude, if this doesn't go to Broadway, what are we going to do? He's like, well, I got to do some little crazy show up in Barrington called Spelling Bee or School Bee or something. I don't know what's happening with that, but I'm going to go do it because, it's money. So he goes off and does that while I'm in the Bay. While we're doing Spelling Bee, when I finally got to Broadway doing Spelling Bee, that's when Memphis picked back up. It took that long to pick back up from 2004.
Wow, east to west, west to east to west, because didn't Aladdin start in Seattle?
In Seattle? Yeah, they started in Seattle. So I went from Spelling Bee in San Francisco to New York. Then I went back home to California. And I stayed there for a year. And then I went to Memphis, and we brought to New York. And after Memphis closed, I went back home to California for a year. And then I went to Aladdin, and my wife looked at me and she said, if you get nominated for a Tony, we're not moving back. I am tired of this back and forth. Pick a place.
What?
And we're here.
No, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm sitting here thinking, my word, what does that must do to your health as a singer, dancer, back and forth, having to adjust to the climates?
Well, because I've been doing it since 1998. My first job was I was on tour with the national tour of Showboat, and my whole life has been traveling. And my wife, my best friend, my partner in crime, the best thing that ever happened to me, Dawn Iglehart, we've been best friends since high school. And this is the life we've had. This is the life we have had for over 17 years. So this is the first time we've actually been settled someplace.
Oh, now with Memphis, you again, you were part of the development, and you've called it the little show that could. I heard, and then it won the Tony.
Right.
Why was Memphis such an underdog?
Because one, we had an unknown music writer. Two, we had a guy who had done Broadway, but it was a jukebox musical. Joe DiPietro was known for I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change, and a couple of plays, really, really good plays. But as far as like major musicals, folks weren't looking at him like that. Second of all, we had no stars. We're the show that everybody called Hairspray Light.
Oh, gosh.
And third of all, we were up against freaking juggernauts. We were up against the soon-to-be Spider-Man was supposed to come and destroy New York. We had
Spider-Man just destroyed itself.
Pretty much, yes. We had the Addams Family with, Bebe Neuwirth and Nathan Lane. And there's just mega stars in the show. And then across the street from us, we had the show that was supposed to change it all. We had Green Day's American Idiot. There was nothing that could stop these people. And then there were the three little shows, Fela, $1 Million Quartet, and us. And by the end of it, it was Green Day versus the three of the little shows. The little shows lasted, stayed, destroyed, and it was the coolest thing in the world because the three shows, we all banded together. Like every time you saw Fela or $1 Million Quartet in Memphis, we all hung together. We were all like one big family constantly. We were like, hey, we'll all just kick it over here together. It was like the 4 white boys and all the black people just all together in one little group. And so when we all got to the Tonys, it was the coolest thing. But what ended up happening was when Spider-Man didn't come when it was supposed to, Addams Family didn't get the reviews they were supposed to, Green Day killed it, but once summer was over, all the teenagers couldn't come to Broadway. So old people are not going, they're like, this is too loud, and I don't understand why she's floating. No one understood. No, the old people didn't get it. And so it was just Memphis. So everybody understood our show, and they realized that our show, Hairspray was a comedy, ours was a serious musical with comical moments.
Yeah.
And there were some amazing moments. Montego Glover singing Colored Woman, Chad Kimball singing Memphis Lives in Me. We had some great people, Derek Baskin, J. Bernard Calloway. We had some amazing folks in our show, and we got the concierge award. All of the hotels were telling people to go see Memphis. After a while, our show became a hit because of word of mouth. Because the critics talked about us. I think one critic, which I think is so much funny, I can't think of his name, but he basically said, everybody around me stood up and liked it. I don't know what they were saying, but I didn't dig it. And I thought to myself, you have to be really egotistical to be the only person in the room to not like it and still think you're right.
Yeah.
You're like, I am in a room of 1,400 people. Everybody loves this but me. You are all wrong. I was like, which is one of the reasons why me and critics, we probably shouldn't have conversations.
Yeah. Well, no, we're sitting next to Hirsch, who comes with me on these field interviews, and I think that's one of your pet peeves, too, is just these theater snobs that have no clue what they're talking about because they're all about themselves. It's ridiculous.
What's funny about theater is alive and it's subjective. But when you basically say, this show is good, this show isn't, technically there are some bad shows, there are some great shows. But when everybody, just because the layman person, what you quote-unquote call the layman person, likes something, doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do we... Interesting thing that I struggle with, because you don't know this yet about me, but I'm actually a magician and a ventriloquist.
Oh my God, we need to talk about that, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, later.
I am into magic and ventriloquism.
So the thing I'm always pulling with theater is great, meaty material, and then stuff like you've been seeped in, which is just entertainment, which is for the masses that come in.
Yes.
Why do people have such a problem with entertainments?
Because you have intellectuals who, when you become, in my first personal opinion, and opinions are like, you know what it is, when you become so smart, you can no longer be happy. Because you're too smart for your own good. Because what ends up happening is you're so smart that you know the grass isn't greener. It's just where I am. So therefore, the whole world sucks. So in order to make myself feel good, I need something to change me, something intelligent, something to make me think. Regular people don't have time for that crap. Regular people get up in the morning, go to a 9 to 5, and when it's over, they just want to be entertained. Make me laugh, make me cry, make me feel lustful with a girl who looks amazing or a guy who looks crazy amazing. That's what they want. They want good music. They want something to tap their toes to, something to clap their hands, and to take them out of their lives for 2 hours and go away. People don't want to think, and it's okay. If you think for 8 to 12 hours a day, when you go to see a show or a television show, that's why people go see Star Wars. Take me away to a galaxy far, far away and show me something that doesn't exist. Please don't take me to a show where I am watching reality. I don't want to watch a person go crazy when my sister-in-law has the exact same symptoms. I don't want to see this. I want to see something different. And the critics, they're bothered by that because they're freaking jaded. You have old men who have seen every show under the sun, and when they see a show with some tap dancing in it, they go, well, I've seen this. But here's the fun part. Those guys can't tap, can't write, can't sing, can't act. The only reason why they are critics is because they didn't have the talent to do that. And if they have it, they can find me.
I want to give him a standing ovation right now.
We're sitting here clapping.
We are sitting here clapping. I'm trying not to clap too loud because of the sensitivity of these microphones. And wow.
Well, that's how I feel, because I think you can't, when people critique them, I'm a huge comic book fan. And when people critique a comic book movie and have never read a comic book, it kills me.
Yeah.
They go, this film's unrealistic. It's Superman! He's supposed to fly! Something's wrong with Aladdin. I just didn't get it. It's about a freaking kid who finds a genie! This crap doesn't exist!
That's great.
How can you critique this?
That's wonderful. Wow. No, okay, there's no easy transition into this, but I feel like we have to go here now.
Go ahead.
Earlier this year, we had Gilbert Gottfried on the show.
Yes. Well, I love that, man.
And I got to make sure my speaker's up here. I'll give this to you. You know how to access that clip. He finally got to see the show.
Yes.
It took Disney a while to invite him. But he finally got to see the show, and then something funny happened with his kid, and it involves you. Do you know where this is going?
Yes, I do.
Shall we play the clip?
Please.
I remember watching the musical with my 6-year-old son, and the Genie, the actor playing the Genie came out, and my son leaned into me and said, "That's not the real Genie. The real Genie's dead."
I will never forget that, because he came on stage and he told me that, and I laughed out loud. I lost it. And I think what's funny about it is some people will hear that and think, oh my gosh, that is so disrespectful to Robin and his memory. And I think people forget Robin Williams was one of the greatest, most amazing comedians in the world. And he had no problem dogging the dead or dogging the living. So the fact that Gilbert, who knew Robin, and his son has Gilbert Gottfried's sense of humor, said that, to me, it just made me laugh. And I think it would have made Robin smile. And I know it made me smile. And we all just fell out laughing because it's true. It's different if a regular kid said that. But you're talking about a guy whose kid probably knew Dad knew Robin. You know what I mean? It's just different. You're like, okay, yeah, you know, Dad, your friend is not here anymore. That's not the real him. He's like, you're right, son. Absolutely true. So I thought it was great.
That's
I thought it cracked me up.
And that leads me into some questions about Robin. I know with the workshop, my timeline might be off with his passing, but did you ever get to meet Robin?
Never got to meet Robin, but the cool thing is I got to meet a couple of his friends.
Yeah.
One of my heroes, Whoopi Goldberg. I got to meet her. And when I met her, I literally broke down in tears because she has been a hero of mine since I first saw her on HBO doing Whoopi on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And for college, I did Fontaine for a one act. And I did the whole thing she did, and I didn't dress up like her, but I played it like, it's her playing a man, so I played it like a guy, of course, doing it, but same monologue, and I tried my best to do it, and I didn't do it very well. I mean, I kind of basically just imitated her. It took me a minute to find my own way, but in a college one act, what are you going to do? But then I got to meet Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she was, I won't say what she said because it was very private to me, but she did tell me that Robin appreciated what I was doing.
Wow.
And he knew of it and basically they had conversations about it. And between Whoopi and her, I was told that he was cool with it, and that was all I needed because he's a hero of mine. I have like my Mount Rushmore of comedians, and he's on it.
Yeah, he's on it. He worked for Disney. I know you wanted to work for Disney for
Since
a
I was a kid.
long
Oh, yeah.
time. But I mean, the fame and everything that has come of it. Is this how you envisioned working for Disney?
No. I had always dreamed that I would do some cool movie or something, and then they would put me. I would do some movie, for someone, and they would call me and let me do a voice for a cartoon. And what ended up happening was I ended up doing this, and now I am doing a voice for the Tangled the Animated Series on the Disney Channel, which comes out next year.
That's awesome.
And with the original cast of, Zachary Levi, Mandy Moore. So now I get to do it, but I get to do it because the Disney folks from LA came to see the show and liked what I was doing and said, we'd like to, use you for one of our projects. And this is how that happened.
It's really been a door opener for you because you've done Unbreakable.
Yes.
I mean, it's...
I got to do Gotham because of this.
And I mean, how long do you want to stay with this show? We had Jefferson on that was with Gentleman's Guide from beginning to end, 3 years. How long do you see yourself?
I don't know. I can't. I can't say. As of right now, it's wonderful, and I'm enjoying myself. I think I'll stay with it until I stop enjoying doing what I'm doing. And also, what people don't know is my wife and I have helped. Our family is definitely that family that says it takes a village to raise a child. So there's 5 nieces and nephews in our family, and my wife and I have helped raise these people. And one of them is out of college, and 3 of them are in college, and one of them is in high school. So as long as Uncle can keep pushing people towards education, that also probably be a factor of how long I'll be in the show.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I have a confession to make. This might be, he and I were going back and forth, this might be impolite, but I was telling you before, I saw Aladdin. My confession is that we came on a Sunday, and you weren't here, and I was so disappointed because I've seen you do it so many times, and I still think you're a genius because I've seen you do it so many times, but I have yet to see you do it live. Now,
Okay.
we are, when this airs, it's going to be the week the Tonys are announced. Do you think, especially we talk about longevity and people that come in for replacements, do you think there should be categories for longer running things?
I don't know about that. I've never really thought about it, but it's difficult because it's hard to say you should give an award for replacements when some shows replace every other month. It's like, how do you do that with all the shows fairly when Chicago can replace any of their people monthly or bi-monthly, and that works for that show. I mean, perfectly. I mean, I have to give it to Chicago. That is one of the coolest moves I have ever seen, where they can bring people in and keep the show running with a different flavor each and every, couple of months or every year. Whereas I don't know if Aladdin or Wicked or Lion King or things like that can do that. You know what I mean? I don't think it would work for a show like Hamilton. I don't think you can bring in, like Eminem and go, all right, you're going to play this role today, and them having to go, oh my God, 8 shows a week? Wow, that's crazy. You're insane,
I quit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no disrespect to Eminem. I'm pretty sure he could do it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't want to be on one of his songs. Like, Genie said I couldn't, I don't want to be on that crap. But I think it's different to give an award to that. I think what the award should be, if there is one, is just, I love the award of longevity.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things is the best way to acknowledge someone is to talk about the fact that they're still here, like Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked was in the running with all of these great musicals and didn't win the Tony.
Yeah.
And the show that did win the Tony is now off Broadway, and the other shows that were with them are gone.
Yeah.
We didn't win the Tony. We
Yes.
are, I think, one of the only shows from that season. I think that's still here.
Yeah.
So I think it's about you. You don't need an award. We've already proven it. Like
The success
the
is
success of it. Phantom, Wicked, Jersey Boys, Lion King, Aladdin. These shows, these shows aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the award itself to me.
It's wonderful. Yeah. And I think the fans are also the award too. I know.
Yeah.
Again, talking about your breakout success, I know a lot of people come for Genie and get excited to see Genie. I'm going to let him ask this question because we were talking about it on the train, and it's actually kind of timely for what's been in the news this last week. Hirsch?
Yeah, so in the news last week, we've seen a lot come out about the stage door with what happened over at Color Purple.
Oh, yes.
And sort of fans that, obviously a lot of Broadway performers love going out the stage door, but every so often it just comes up that you can't.
Right.
And a lot of fans get upset. And it's a really kind of rough area that we get into there. And I know Cynthia Riva over at Color Purple went on social media about it this week.
I know, I read it, and I totally agreed with what she said.
Yeah.
I think we had a situation here last week when we were doing Broadway Cares.
Yeah.
And it's a charity. It's a charity. And it's a wonderful charity. Here's an organization that gives to thousands upon thousands of people dealing with HIV and AIDS. They give to the Phyllis Newman's Women's Health Initiative, which deals with breast cancer. They give to the Al Hirschfeld Free Clinic. They give to the Red Cross. They give to all these wonderful organizations. I mean, Easter Bonnet is happening right now with Broadway Cares, raising money that they're going to give to real people. And a person decided to buy the tour. And the tour involved a picture with me, with the magic lamp, and a free CD of Adam Jacobs' new CD called Right Where I Belong.
Yeah.
But for a lesser price, $20, you can get the apron, or for $60 you can get the signed poster. Two separate things. We get outside, and the guy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, I know we took the picture with you, but I was just wondering why we didn't get to take a picture with all the other actors." I said, "Who?" They said, "Well, Aladdin, Jasmine, we paid a lot of money for this." I was like, "Sir, it's charity, and the offer was to take a picture with the Genie. We do it different nights. Different nights it's Adam and Courtney, Aladdin, Jasmine. Some nights it's Jafar. Some nights it's me. It all depends. You happen to come on a night where it was Genie. Well, we pay a lot of money, so I don't see why we don't get to take a picture with everybody else." But they were outside, and they had just taken a picture with Courtney, and they were kind of arguing with her. And he's like, "Well, don't we also get the apron and the poster?" "No, those are lesser priced things. What you paid for was the big one, and you got that." And he tried to argue with me, and I stopped. I said, Sir, this is for charity. You do realize that, right?" And he just kind of looked at me, and I think there was a moment where he realized, oh, this is no longer the Genie. This is a 6', 285-pound black person who is looking me in my face and talking to me like a man. And I'm like, "Say, bruh, relax. You gave to a great organization, but coming at us like that,
rude.
Is not
rude,
nice."
disrespectful.
But I was very cool. I looked at him and I said, "Sir, actually you got what you paid for, but just to be nice." And I went and got him an apron. I gave it to his daughter. And then when we shook hands, I held on to him a little longer and I looked at him and I said, "Thank you very much, sir." And he went to ask me a question. I said, "Thank you very much." And I moved on to the next person. I think what happens is people think that because they paid for a ticket, that the show isn't over until they leave. I mean, it's great when you walk outside and people go, "Hey, Genie, do the cartwheel again." And you think they're joking and they're freaking serious. You're like, "You realize I did a cartwheel 2 hours ago, and you want me to do it on gravel outside in the cold right now for you so you can put it on Snapchat?" No.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love all of our fans. Our show wouldn't be here without the people that pay their hard-earned money to see the show. And most of our fans, 90% of the fans who come to Broadway, are the most amazing, generous people. But you get those 10% of people, these wonderful, new, millennial, entitled people
Yeah.
that could swear.
Oh, yeah.
But these are also the same people, who tweet mean things because they have nothing better to do with their time.
Yeah, no, I apologize.
And then they attach you to it and think you ain't gonna say nothing. And then when you say something, you realize you attached my name to this tweet, so I can say something now.
Oh, my word. Say nothing of everything's just about everything. There's whole new ethics about clicking and liking and commenting and tweeting at people. It's ridiculous. Just give me a book.
And when they look at actors, they don't see a real person. They see the act. They see the character. And I understand how sometimes it can get confusing.
Oh, these interviews are never about me, but if I can espouse a little bit of my philosophy with the show, is this why I do this? That's why I like sitting 3 feet from you and doing this, because I like to get to know the person behind the makeup, behind the costume, because if you're doing the Tonight Show, you're performing, as the Genie, or you're doing 3 minutes with Jimmy Fallon and you're just having fun. I like to sit and have these conversations because I think some people in our generation just don't care.
They don't. We're so far removed. To be honest, it isn't. A lot of it isn't their fault. There's a moment where you realize, unless you're actually in the business, like when some kid says, "I want to be an actor," to a family member who's never even been in acting. They've gone to a movie, they've seen TV, they might have seen one play. That is so far removed, and they don't want their child to get hurt because they don't know anybody that's done it. So if you don't know anybody that's done it, you look at them and you go, listen, you may not want to do it. There are millions of people who want to do that, and you probably won't make it. And you don't mean to hurt their feelings, but what it is they just don't know.
Yeah.
And it takes that kid with the drive to go, no, I can do this, and then go and do it. And then what ends up happening is their family gets brought into this world, and then they begin to get it. And then they begin to understand when they watch their child be bombarded with people or tweeting about themselves and stuff, and they go, oh my God, now I get it. But it takes someone to break out and say, this is what it is. Most people just don't get it.
Yeah, that's you're right, and you bring up the people that want to do it. So I want to let you go. You have a show tonight. I'm going to close with my final question here. I never let my guests escape without this question. What is your advice for the people that want to find their way to Broadway, even if it takes a couple of times back and forth between the coast?
I would say, when you're performing, wherever you are in the country, and the crowd is clapping for you, and it's not just your family, and it's not just your friends, you probably have the skill set to do this. If you leave your small area and do it someplace else, and those people clap for you, you probably have the skill set to do this. Then it becomes, do I have the drive to go through what it takes to do this? Do I want to go to school, learn to dance, learn to sing, learn to act the correct way so that I can do it 8 shows a week? Or do I want to sit in class and have a teacher tell me, no, bring it down so on camera you don't look crazy? Then if you go through that, then you have the drive to do it. Or are you that guy or that gal who says, I'm going to go out there into the city without schooling and just do it and learn on the fly and learn from the folks around me and learn from those veterans who know how to do it? If you've got that drive, go for it. But know that whichever path you take, school or the school of hard knocks, it's going to be hard. But if when you get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and all you can think about is performing, all you can think about is singing, all you can think about is Broadway, and people have told you more than a couple of people besides your family say you have the skill set to do this, I say go for it. It is fun. It is great. And Broadway isn't the end-all, be-all. People think Broadway's the last stop. No, you can act in Chicago. You can act in Los Angeles. You can act in Texas. You can act in Oregon Shakespeare Company. There are some guys I know who were there for 14 seasons. You can be an actor. So on your taxes, it says, I am an actor. Whether it be voiceover, commercial, whatever you want to do in this business, this field we call entertainment, if this is the drive and this is the dream, go for it. Just know you're going to have to go through some bull. You don't have to kiss ass. You don't have to kiss ass, but you do have to be nice. Nice people finish first in this business, not last. Divas make it first. Nice people finish first. And I say, go for it. I say, have someone you love that you trust that you can call when the going gets tough and you go, I don't want to do this anymore. And they go, no, this is what you wanted. This is what you worked for. You know, if you're at a show and every time you go, you enjoy the show, but you imagine yourself up there, this is probably what you're supposed to be doing. But you need to go to the proper channels. You got to know you got to work your butt off. You have to learn your craft to be in this field. And you have to be humble enough to know that you don't know everything. And you're going to be learning this craft until you die. You're going to learn something new all the time. And it's a great field to be in. It's a fun job to do, but it's work. And I think one of the things that I've learned, especially after winning the Tony Award, is that what I thought fame was, and I'm not even famous. I call myself. I feel like if
I would debate that.
If Kathy Griffin's on the D list, I think I'm on the E list. I'm a Broadway person. I think what I have learned is that fame is an illusion. It's what people put on you. You're still you. I woke up on Monday, June 15th, 2014. And I was a Tony winner, but I was still James Monroe Iglehart. There were still dishes to be cleaned. The trash needed to be taken out. And, we still had to, I knew taxes were coming April 15th, and I had to pay them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you're still you. And yes, you take pictures. Like last night I went out to a gala. I took pictures with B.B. Newworth and Sutton Foster, and I got to take a picture of one of my heroes, Alfred Molina. But you're a regular person when you step out. You're still you. The fame is the illusion, and the job is real. As long as you love the job, then you have made it to where you want to be. That's what I say.
And that is perfect. James Monroe Iglehart, thank you for still being the person, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Had a great time.
James, you call me, you're back on. That was a blast. Hirsch and I really, really enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting me and my field producer, Hirsch Ellis, up to the theater for it. You were amazing. I know you'll continue to kill it, and congrats on all that has come your way as a result. You deserve everything that's going to come in the future, too. You're awesome. Thank you. Now, that's it for us this week and this season. What a ride. Oh, my word. Oh, I am so grateful. I started working on this season in January, and I could never have guessed that I'd be all over the city doing these interviews, and that we would have such a variety of awesome people just in these last few months. I can only promise to try and better myself for our summer season, try to top what we've done, and of course our summer season will come your way in June. And I can only thank you for coming along on this crazy, crazy, crazy journey with me. And for those of you who have found us in recent months as a result of all of these new guests and different genres, welcome aboard and stay tuned. We are happy to have you. I am happy to have you. And more surprises are abound. How do I know this? Because I am constantly surprised. As I said, regular airing returns in June, but don't be surprised, there's that word again, if, just like back in January, we have a few sneak attack episodes. Thank you immensely again to our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network. Also, thank you to Hirsch Ellis, Sarah Davis, Peter Zube, and everyone who made this season possible. Mom and Dad, everybody. They cart my butt everywhere when I'm back home in Pennsylvania. But most importantly, thank you for listening. I am forever grateful, and I hope that gratitude is never lost on you, and I really sincerely try, if I'm not stating it outright like I am today, try to put it across in each episode. And I feel like I give this same spiel at every sort of final juncture that we come to. I cannot wait to see what the summer holds. Signing off for Talk for Two, I'm Matt Bailey. I'll see you in June, and I'm reminding everyone out there to keep talking for two.
You can hear more show business interviews with the stars at talkfor2.com.